Now, a while ago, you saw a video of me treating a coloured horse, a small, very, very small horse. Now, he's been doing a little bit better, but my biggest fear is he's not really responded to the treatment that we've been doing, not in the way I would like anyhow. He has improved. He was continuously lame when I first saw him. Now he has periods throughout the day where he isn't, but he's still not okay, and whenever he's rested he is hopping lame until he gets moving. Now, I'm really keen for the vets to have a look at him because, to be honest, I'm worried, and I want to make sure that there's no other underlying issues there that could be affecting him and preventing him from recovering. Now, with the vet present, she'd done a full lameness trot up, and there was nothing in the legs themselves, so she was more than happy for me to treat him. But she was on hand because I was pretty certain that because of the way he's moving here with the head down, he's very heavy in the forehand, and a bit lackluster with the movement. And then in the trot you can see he's technically lame behind, but it certainly wasn't coming from the leg itself. So we're looking higher up and really sort of pelvis and the last part of the lumbar spine. And because of the way he was moving and the way I like to work is to get the vets to do an intravenous sedation, and this allows the horse to switch off some of its fight-flight mechanism, and then they really do engage and work with you. So in a single treatment you can achieve so much more. So this is just prior to the vet sedating him, and here we are here with him sedated. Now it's just a gentle cocktail that we use, that it makes them feel more comfortable, so there's a little bit of analgesic pain relief, and it switches off, as I say, this fight-flight mechanism. So horses are wired to either run away from things or defend themselves. And he's just really engaging here. So at the moment I'm holding his tail and he's stretching away from me. That's an important phrase, because I'm not pulling his tail, I'm holding his tail and letting him stretch away from me and basically work right the way through his spine, right the way through to his neck and his tongue and mouth. This is a part of the treatment technique, and there I'm just gently rocking him to see, and now he still wants to pull. And so I'm just getting a better hold. I'm keeping up the tension, and then I'm using my substantial weight as a counterbalance for him to lean forward, and then the handler is just propping one of the front legs just in case he wants to lean forward too far. We don't want him doing anything silly, and he's just gently releasing through. Now where he's pulling from isn't the only place he's releasing. He's releasing tension right the way through his chest, his front legs, his neck, as I said, the muscles that attach to the tongue, and also some of the belly muscles. And then as he just gently comes off, and then I'm just gently rocking him and looking how the movement's going through the various muscle groups through his back. And this is a nice way where the horse effectively pretty much self-treats during this. But the skill is in not trying to override what the horse is trying to do. And then just using what we call some cross-fibre muscle inhibition, where at a more localized level I can then get some of the muscles to lower their resting state, some of the ones that are too tight. And in other cases, if you've got muscles that are not tight enough, not working enough, you can actually stimulate them. And it just very much depends on how I apply pressures with my hands through the muscles as to whether I'm relaxing them or what we call waking them up, getting them to do their job. And then he's just taking some more pull through. Well, he's stretching away from me via his tail, and just making good use of me. But it is very, very slow, and if you really focus in, sometimes you can see some of the muscles just gently yielding and altering their resting state. And if the resting state of the muscles is correct, then in theory, when they go to move, you should get unimpeded movement. And he's nicely relaxed here, and now I'm just gently rocking him, but gently rocking via the tail. And then in order to release tension through the top of the neck, I'm just cradling his head and allowing him to just stretch. So I'm not using force here, I'm gently guiding and supporting and allowing him to release tension through the muscles at the very top of the neck. Now these are really important for the horse's balance, and I'm going to be covering different shapes of horses' necks and that in another video. And then coming back, looking at him from behind, just looking, and there I'm just gently rocking his back via his tail, and you can see he's not symmetrical through here. If you look down his back, you can see even with the different colour pattern that there's more raised tension through his back on the left hand side. And so I worked on the spine. Now it's time to work on what are called the sacroiliac joints, where the spine and the pelvis meet. Now, unlike us, where we sit down on ours, horses don't normally, but this horse is actually sitting back through the equivalent of its sitting bone. It's the called the tubericii, and he's wedging back onto my shoulder. Now, because he's quite a small horse, I've got to crouch down, and then he's literally leaning a good 100 kilos or so of his weight back onto me. And you can see how the back is now arched up. And what this is doing is it's allowing him to sit down and use me as a prop to lift that joint up and actually gap it somewhat. And then I'm just doing some muscle inhibition through the hamstring muscles, and these are the muscles that flex and pull the back leg upwards. And he's been overusing these because he hasn't been pushing from behind, or certainly not recently. And so I'm just gently working through those, and then feeling through the caudal gluteal muscles, and then checking him again. He's evened up much more through the back end, but you can see when we look down the camera line, although he's not standing perfectly straight, his shoulders are not totally level either. And then just making sure that we've got some really good release through the top of the neck and the muscles he uses for his jaw. And again, just using nice gentle techniques. You don't need to force things with horses or with any animal. If you do, then you're sort of using brute force and ignorance over skill set, really. And this is him afterwards, just standing there nicely, recovering, and then what you do is you just keep an eye on them until they wake up.